Your attorney Sultan is standing right next to you. You're free to do that. Could you please state your name?
Hernandez.
And your age?
23.
And how far did you go in school?
3 years of college.
Do you have any trouble speaking or understanding English?
No.
And what has been your employment?
I play football in the club.
Have you ever been treated for mental illness?
No.
Are you aware of any mental illness you may now have?
No.
Have you taken any medication within the last 24 hours?
No.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Do you understand in this case you have been charged with murder, unlawful possession of a firearm, 4 charges, and unlawful possession of a large capacity firearm?
Yes.
And have you discussed the meaning of these charges and the elements of these offenses with your attorneys?
Yes.
Do you understand if you were to be convicted of murder in the first degree, the sentence the judge would be required to impose is life in prison without any possibility of parole?
Yes.
And you understand the maximum penalty for the charge of unlawful possession of a firearm under Section 10A of Chapter 269 is 5 years in state prison with a minimum mandatory of no less than 18 months.
Yes.
And you understand the maximum penalty for each of the 3 charges of unlawful possession of a firearm under Section 10H is 2 years in a house of correction.
Yes.
And you understand the maximum penalty for the charge of unlawful possession of a large capacity firearm is 10 years in state prison with a minimum mandatory of no less than 2.5 years.
Yes.
And you further understand that sentences can be imposed consecutively.
Yes.
You have a right under the Constitution to be represented by an attorney who is fully on your side and able to represent you without any conflicting loyalties. This means you have the right to be represented by a lawyer who is free of any conflict of interest and whose commitment is solely to you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to be fully informed of any conflicts that might exist and to waive any such potential conflict and to continue to be represented by this attorney. Or if you prefer, to have a different attorney. Do you understand that?
Yes.
An attorney has a duty to do his best to advance the interests of his clients. Do you understand this?
Yes.
In this case, I have been informed that ADA Bomberg's wife is a partner at Ropes & Gray, where your attorney, Mr. Fee, is also a partner. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
A lawyer's personal interest may include an interest in maintaining friendly relations with his law firm partners. This interest conceivably might bear on how he goes about making decisions. Do you understand that there may be circumstances that could potentially give rise to a situation in which your attorney may have an incentive to do something that might be inconsistent with your interests or not to do something that would be in your interests? Did you hear what Mr. Fee told to the court with respect to the nature of his relationship with ADA Bomberg's wife?
Yes.
Mr. Fee, have you concluded that your representation of Mr. Hernandez will not be adversely affected by the fact that ADA Bomberg's wife is your partner?
I have, Your Honor.
And are there any facts or any is there any greater detail of a potential conflict that you would like to put on the record than the court has set forth?
No, Your Honor, other than the potential for that conflict was disclosed to Mr. Hernandez immediately upon our encounter with Mr. Bomberg on June 17th.
Did you hear what was said by your attorney?
Yes.
And do you understand why there could appear to be a potential conflict of interest? Did you speak, as Mr. Feast stated, with him about this issue?
Yes.
You're also being represented in this case by Mr. Rankin and Mr. Sultan, who are with a different law firm. Did you talk to either or both of them about this issue?
Yes.
And did you talk to them without Mr. Fee being present?
Yes.
Do you understand you're entitled to have your attorney keep your confidences and not disclose to anyone else any confidential information you have with him?
Yes.
Knowing all this and knowing that a potential conflict may exist if Mr. Fee represents you in this matter, do you choose to continue to be represented by Attorney Fee as co-counsel in this case, or do you prefer to have a different attorney in addition to Mrs. Rankin and Sultan, or no attorney at all in addition to them? Do you wish Mr. Fee to continue to represent you?
Yes, sir.
Did you make that choice on your own, freely and voluntarily, without any pressure or inducement or threat of any kind?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened you or made any promises to you of reward or anything otherwise regarding your decision to keep Attorney Fee as counsel?
No.
Have you understood all the questions I've asked you?
Yes.
Is there anything that you wish to ask at this time of any of your counsel?
No, Your
Despite making this choice, it's possible that circumstances could develop in the future that would cause your attorney to be required to withdraw from your case because of an actual conflict of interest. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If at this time you choose to proceed with this attorney and to waive any potential conflict that may exist, and if you are ultimately convicted and you appeal from that conviction, you will not then be able to raise on appeal the issue of your attorney's potential conflict of interest because that issue will be held to have been waived. Do you understand that?
Yes.
At this point, having heard all of these explanations and understanding all these matters, do you feel that you are fully informed, so you're able to make this decision?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to think about it and to discuss it with your attorneys or with anyone else whose advice you might want?
Yes.
What is your choice at this time?
To remain my lawyer, Mr. Chief.
Thank you. You may sit down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I find that the defendant is not presently suffering from any mental illness or condition, that he understands the seriousness of the charges against him and understands the circumstances of having attorney fee